Chapter 3, Book of Job, 1, 6-22, King James Version. Now there was a day when the sons of God came to present themselves before the Lord, and Satan came also among them. And the Lord said unto Satan, Whence comest thou? Then Satan answered the Lord, and said, From going to and fro in the earth, and from walking up and down in it. And the Lord said unto Satan, Hast thou considered my servant Job, that there is none like him in the earth, a perfect and an upright man, one that feareth God and escheweth evil? Then Satan answered the Lord, and said, Doth Job fear God for naught? Hast not thou made an hedge about him, and about his house, and about all that he hath on every side? Thou hast blessed the work of his hands, and his substance is increased in the land. But put forth thine hand now, and touch all that he hath, and he will curse thee to thy face. And the Lord said unto Satan, Behold, all that he hath is in thy power. Only upon himself put not forth thine hand. So Satan went forth from the presence of the Lord. And there was a day when his sons and his daughters were eating and drinking wine in their eldest brother's house. And there came a messenger unto Job, and said, The oxen were plowing, and the asses feeding beside them. And the Sabaeans fell upon them, and took them away. Yea, they have slain the servants with the edge of the sword. And I only am escaped alone to tell thee. While he was yet speaking, there came also another, and said, The fire of God is fallen from heaven, and hath burned up the sheep and the servants, and consumed them. And I only am escaped alone to tell thee. While he was yet speaking, there came also another, and said, The Chaldeans made out 3 bands, and fell upon the camels, and have carried them away, yea, and slain the servants with the edge of the sword. And I only am escaped alone to tell thee. While he was yet speaking, there came also another, and said, Thy sons and thy daughters were eating and drinking wine in their eldest brother's house. And behold, there came a great wind from the wilderness, and smote the 4 corners of the house, and it fell upon the young men, and they are dead. And I only am escaped alone to tell thee. Then Job arose, and rent his mantle, and shaved his head, and fell down upon the ground, and worshipped, and said, Naked came I out of my mother's womb, and naked shall I return thither. The Lord gave, and the Lord hath taken away. Blessed be the name of the Lord. In all this Job sinned not, nor charged God foolishly. There is a detail in Job's story that changes everything, yet Job himself never knew it. Behind the curtain of human sight, beyond the reach of grief and dust and broken understanding, a conversation unfolds. The sons of God gather, and among them stands an adversary, not equal, not sovereign, but present, watching, accusing, waiting, and God speaks first. Have you considered my servant Job? It is a striking moment. Heaven speaks confidence while earth is still unaware a storm is forming. God declares what Job cannot defend for himself, that he is blameless, upright, a man who fears God and turns from evil. But the accuser is not impressed. He does not deny Job's righteousness. He questions its motive. Does Job fear God for nothing? In other words, remove the blessing, and you will reveal the truth. What Job does not see is that his life is surrounded, protected, a hedge placed not by chance but by design, around his home, around his work, around everything he has built. Satan cannot cross it, not yet. But there is something else, something subtle, something human. Job's sons gather often, feasting, celebrating, living freely in the abundance their father's life has provided. And though the text does not accuse them outright, it hints at something unsettled. Job rises early, offering sacrifices for them, saying, It may be that my sons have sinned. Not certainty, but concern. Not proof, but perception. Because where there is envy, where there is strife, there is confusion. And where confusion settles in, every evil work can follow. The world Job lives in is not untouched ground. It hasn't been since the beginning. In Eden, authority was handed to man. But when Adam chose disobedience, that authority fractured. What was once aligned with God became vulnerable to another voice. And in that fracture, Satan found access, not ownership, but influence, not creation, but corruption. From that moment forward, he moved through the earth with a singular intent: to steal, to kill, and to destroy. So when Satan answers God, "I've been going to and fro on the earth," it is not a casual report. It is a search, a scanning, a looking for openings. And then permission is granted, not control permission. The hedge is not destroyed, but adjusted. Job himself is still untouchable, but everything around him is suddenly exposed, and Satan wastes no time. What follows comes fast, too fast, loss without warning, messengers interrupting messengers, oxen gone, servants gone, fire falling, wind rising, a house collapsing, children gone. And Job stands in the middle of it all with no explanation. No heavenly conversation, no context, no reason why, only silence. But what happens next is what defines him. He falls not in defeat, but in worship. The Lord gave, and the Lord has taken away. Blessed be the name of the Lord. And here the paradox settles in, because what Job speaks is true from his perspective. Everything he has ever received has come from God. Life, provision, family, favor. So when it is gone, he attributes both the giving and the taking to the same hand. But the reader knows something Job does not. God gave, but it was the adversary who destroyed, the fire that fell, the wind that struck, the loss that unfolded in waves. This was not the signature of heaven's generosity, but the strategy of an enemy whose purpose has always been to unravel, to strip, to break, to steal what was given, to kill what was living, to destroy what was built. And yet God allowed the test, but never surrendered his nature, because the same God who permits the trial is also the God who equips. He does not leave man defenseless in a contested world. From the beginning, even after the fall, he placed within man the capacity to trust him beyond what is seen, to stand, to resist, to endure. Faith, not as a feeling, but as a force of alignment with God's truth. A way to stand when everything else falls. A way to answer when heaven seems silent. A way to resist an enemy who thrives on fear and confusion. Job did not see the adversary, but he resisted him, not with argument, not with understanding, but with unwavering trust in who God is. The same pattern would be revealed again in the wilderness, where Jesus, face to face with the same adversary, answered every temptation not with power on display, but with truth spoken in faith. It is written. And in that moment, what began in suffering is answered in authority, that the enemy may have access. But he does not have victory, that trials may be permitted, but they are not without limit. And that faith anchored in God becomes the very thing that overcomes what seeks to destroy. Because while the adversary moves in darkness, God works in a way that confounds it, taking what is broken, what is overlooked, what is dismissed, and bringing from it something that could not have existed any other way: life from loss, strength from suffering, faith from silence. And in the end, what Job could not see at the beginning becomes clear only after the fire has passed and the dust has settled. That God was never the one tearing his life apart. He was the one sustaining him through it and giving him the faith to stand in the middle of it. The thief does not come except to steal and to kill and to destroy. I have come that they may have life, and that they may have it more abundantly. But God has chosen the foolish things of the world to put to shame the wise, and God has chosen the weak things of the world to put to shame the things which are mighty. And the base things of the world and the things which are despised God has chosen, and the things which are not, to bring to nothing the things that are,